Hello. Welcome to Anything More, Anything Goes. My name is Miguel.
And I'm Brendan.
And folks, welcome to episode 93, where today we're talking about all Dune, all the time, nonstop.
I'm going to talk a lot today.
You are. It's going to be a lore-heavy, spoiler-heavy, over-dramatic fucking episode, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and you already lost your voice.
I did,
so.
yes. The sickness continues.
Yep.
Brendan, what movie did we watch this week?
We saw Dune 2
It was the cinematic
of Bucket Fame.
Bucket Fame. Yes, we saw Dune Part 2 as opposed to Dune 1 or Dune Part 3 that will definitively happen. Messiah.
Oh, wait, no. This was Messiah, technically. I'll get into
Later.
I'll get into it.
Lore will come. Something I didn't know could be so passionate about.
I'm just going to Google it now so I'm not wrong.
Can you tell me what the budget was while you Google?
Can I get a hint really quick?
Nope.
Was it north of 100?
The first one was 165.
Really?
Yeah.
So this one's like 200.
Yeah, 190.
Okay.
You were pretty close. Can you guess what the opening weekend box office looks like? International.
International, I think I saw online that if it was at 190, they're probably expecting around 140.
160.
Fuck!
160 plus. You were pretty close, too. This is like... It's crazy because ever since COVID, ever since maybe like 2021 when the movies did open back up, it's been every time a movie comes out, they're like, man, this is the thing to bring back cinema. The movies are back, man.
Yeah.
And I would have thought like the Barbenheimer weekend was the thing for people to like stop fucking saying that. But you've been telling me all you've been hearing is how Dune Part 2 is like the cinematic masterpiece to bring back cinema and the movies.
Well, just think about it, because you had Barbie and Oppenheimer, not as much of a pick-me-up of movies, but kind of like the closing book of the season. So you have these two bombshells, and then just the fall comes, and there's a lot of great movies that came out.
Everything was
they're
bombing.
So small.
Everything is bombing.
No one gave a fuck.
Aquaman was small to you?
Well, no, but it was shit.
It was... it was really bad.
But, even though I did say I enjoyed it when I watched it.
Yes, you did. And I told you I hated it.
Well, it was just a polished piece of shit. It was not polished.
It was not polished. The CG...
I had fun.
Dude.
It was a fun shit. You ever have one of those?
You ever have a fun shit? Let me tell you. Nothing quite like... Okay.
We just let it go and you're like, damn, I feel great.
A no wiper?
It's good. Usually I don't feel good.
So
though.
Dune Part 2.
Yes.
I had no want to see this movie.
If
we go back a couple weeks ago, I had no want to see this movie or to have anything about it. Timmy was dreading it because all the talk was it was this dramatic 3-hour fantasy whatever with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya at the helm, who I understand Timmy really hates Timothée Chalamet.
Yes.
I'm not entirely opposed to him. I like him a lot more after this movie.
So I hated him and then saw Dune 1. I'm like, he's not that bad.
Exactly. I was not a big fan of him to begin with, and then after watching the first one, my entire mood has changed.
Yeah.
I wanted nothing to do with it. For those that listen to the podcast religiously, I have a tendency to fall asleep in the movie theater, even if it's a movie that we like have to see.
You look pretty awake in this.
This movie, and the same thing goes for Part 1. This was a 3-hour movie in my house, on my couch, on our phones.
Yeah.
And I'm still like 2.5 hours in. I was like, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
We're watching this one. And mind you, there was a couple moments, not because of the movie, because of me, where I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But dude, in IMAX with the big ass screen, even though we were all the way in the back in the corner, awake, amazed.
This is just real quick for Josh Brolin, because there's a video going around that I saw where he's just like, see it in IMAX, see it in IMAX.
Yes.
See, we did, Josh.
We did.
We heard you.
Thank you, Josh. Don't worry. We didn't have the 70 millimeter because, our AMC.
Is that what it was?
Well, there's IMAX, there's 70 millimeter IMAX.
I thought we had the good one because we have Dolby as well, so I figured our movie theater probably would have put in the money for that, but I don't know what the difference is.
I have no idea.
So you're
I'm
the
going to
aspect
stay.
ratio guy.
Yes. Honestly, it's funny too because we swore by Dolby for the longest time, and then out of nowhere we're like, no, all right, fine,
we didn't have the chance because it wasn't in Dolby, so we went to IMAX.
Well, it wasn't Dolby. The problem was just the timing.
Oh, yeah.
But even so, Dolby is something we've seen now. We saw Madam Web in Dolby. That was a fucking waste. But even so, when we were in there, we were like, these seats are pretty comfortable. The sound is pretty good. The screen is bigger.
Well, that's what Dolby is more for the experience of, I just want to be cozy and get closest to what I can probably be on my couch.
Yes.
While also getting rocked by sound.
Like getting fucking rocked.
Just fucking nailed in the side of the head, especially when you're watching something.
I love when sound fucking nails me.
When you're just watching A Quiet Place and John Krasinski's like, watch me fuck these people up, and then you just go fucking deaf for 5 seconds. You're like, this is how the movie was meant to be seen.
I can't hear anymore, but I love this movie. I'm sorry, Jordan.
Why did you have to do the deaf voice?
I was apologizing.
I'm sorry, John.
Stop. Okay, so I We need to do more research into these things. Because stop. I need you to bring it back.
You're crying, so like, it's hard.
So I need to do more research into this because seeing this shit in IMAX, right? Dolby. My experience with Dolby is just going to see the movies that we typically do, which is like the regular movie, but it looks really nice and it's loud, or like Dolby Atmos sound because Apple Music supports that kind of stuff, and it's just a very open 360-degree type of sound. IMAX to me looks so much better, and it sounds better, and even though the seats don't recline all the way, they're very fucking comfortable. So I feel like going forward, at least for the big movies, not like fucking Kung Fu Panda, I'd like to go in IMAX.
They're not as comfortable for me in the winter if I'm wearing like a puffy jacket or whatever. They're still a little bit tight, but especially for like summer blockbusters or whatever that are meant for it, definitely.
100%.
I do think the screen is infinitely better. The sound is not better.
There's room for it to be just a little bigger.
Better.
Oh no, the sound is like, it's not as open and diverse. It's more just like...
Well, because that's what Dolby is. We went into Dolby originally being like, well, this is clearly the highest level of these things, which is why they have the seats and everything, but it's not. It's Dolby is the sound.
Is the sound, and then IMAX is the visual.
And the seats are just...
Why can't we just have
squishy.
the two...
I don't know.
It's funny, too, because the way that we look at it, we never would go to IMAX because we're like, that's a fucking step down, man. I don't want to look on that side of the theater.
Yeah, we would go to the smallest theater and watch the Drive-Away Dolls.
Oh, yes. In a packed theater.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny, too? Right, so the thing about the IMAX seats is they recline a lot more. Yeah. Or rather, they move with the ability to recline, and they're a bit cushier.
The Dolby ones.
No, because Dolby will... Actually, it's like a recliner chair.
Okay.
These are just, they move back a bit more.
Okay.
When we were watching Madam Web, I put my feet up, and when I pushed... The entire like 3-seat thing just like was coming out of the ground. So like, I don't know if we should go to IMAX when it's empty because my self-control will not let me not do that.
Yeah,
It definitely felt like IMAX has had a bit of age to it in that theater.
Dolby's one of those things where if we're going to watch a Marvel movie or something where it's a lot of CG, where it's
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, where it's not really like...
That's just me teasing what next
I'm not going
to
say it's not a spectacle, but IMAX definitely comes across better when you have someone who genuinely cares about the cinematography.
Oh, yeah. Especially in fucking Dune.
Yeah, the Dunes.
The way that the colors pop, or the way that like the blue of the sky hits the fucking yellow of the sand.
The way that their blue eyes pop when they're just like sitting there. The way
that's a pretty big one, yeah. The spice.
The spice.
Josh Brolin, handsome man.
Leave it there.
So, right. Do you want to cover like Dune Part 2 and 1 at the same time, or focus on 2 and just like throw in things about 1?
I want to talk about the filmography of both, but I really want to talk about more of the story, more of...
Oh, you just want to get into the lore.
2.
Can you do the Timothée Chalamet scream again for me?
Silence!
Another. Hold on.
Okay, I want to start off with that before we do anything. Not sponsored.
Timothée Chalamet?
Not just Timothée Chalamet.
Cast?
The acting.
Oh, yes. Yes.
By no means is it bad.
No.
By no means whatsoever. But the amount of people
sometimes
who went to the Leonardo DiCaprio School of Screaming was insane. I love Leo too. But Batista did not deliver a single line that wasn't at the top of his lungs. Timothée Chalamet going, I'm whispering and I'm dead inside, and you can see that the entire time. But the moment I yell, it comes across like this. It just definitely broke the mic.
And it's just his fucking vein is he's
yeah.
Speaking of Dave Bautista, right? I have nothing against him, and in the couple of like little acting classes I've taken, I'm a fucking horrible actor.
Classes?
I took like 1. Okay, and then I had to put on a play for my final, and it was horrible because I couldn't memorize the line. No, this was my first year of college, my first semester.
Drew University?
Yes, it was, yes. I'm bad at it. Drew is not a bad. So, I can't like critique his acting for personally, but Homie's acting was the only one that like stuck out to me being like, no, that's not like a dude, that's fucking Dave Bautista. It's Drax, and he's screaming just like Drax would do, only he's making an angry face. And then he thinks that like slamming someone's head against the fucking computer.
That was kind of intimidating.
It was. But then when he would do anything else.
Yeah. Because he was also kind of playing, he wasn't playing an idiot, but he was playing the fuck up.
Yes.
So he still had a little bit of that, just like, I think if he dialed it back a bit and didn't yell every line and had this menacingness to him.
And if he actually fucking did something.
Would have went better, but that was the thing. His character was useless, which is why he got murdered.
Well, then let's talk about cast.
Okay.
Right? Because this cast is fucking stacked. All right. First of all, just randomly, whoever pops into my head, Florence Pugh, wonderful addition.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about cast, I got to mention this online because I didn't think about it while I was watching it, but I saw someone mention it.
Okay.
And it is insane. The amount of A-list actors in this movie that get like 10 minutes of screen time in a 3.5-hour film is wild. You have a film that's so deep in lore and so well written and draws you into it that Christopher Walken shows up and you're like, it's Christopher Walken. What's happening in the story? And then like you stop caring that it's Christopher Walken, except for like 100%. Every once in a while he's like, well, you know, like, I'm Christopher Walken. I can't do his voice. But
you have to marry my daughter.
And it's just like every once in a while he'll hit like a Christopher Walken note kind of like thing in his pacing. And you're like,
I see why they chose you.
I feel like you're not menacing enough to be the Emperor, but like this is kind of cool to see you here. But everyone else,
this Emperor was not meant to be menacing at all. Rather, I didn't get that vibe.
But I felt like he should have been in order to be in charge of the Atreides and the Harkonnens. Did I add that syllable?
Yes, Harkonnen.
Harkonnen.
Yes.
The Harkonnens and everything. You kind of have to have this like iron fist. And she does say at the beginning of the movie that like, he's a bit like absent-minded. He's like doesn't really give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
Because he's fucking old and it doesn't matter. So like I get that. And he really portrays like that dementia fucking mind really well with those eyes.
Because he's just like everything's empty. And he's like,
I'm like you look like a sickly old man a little bit.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Zendaya. Rebecca Ferguson. Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, Christopher Walken, Léa Seydoux, Stellan Skarsgård. Fucking scary.
Yeah.
Charlotte Rampling. I'm not done.
Oh.
I am done.
Fuck you.
I just didn't see anybody else sticking out to me.
Javier Bardem.
So good.
Hold on.
Underused.
He was in the movie so much.
He was not in the movie enough. You know who was in the movie a little too much? Fucking Timothy Chalamet.
I am so confused with his character.
Why?
More than any. You watch the first one, he's all bundled up, he's got the head fucking thing on, he's got the scarf over his face, he's got whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is a wise man of the land, and it's whatever. And then he takes off the thing, and he's got the blue eyes, and he's kind of being a little goofy.
You kind of see his hair all the time.
And, like, it's a little messy.
He's always like...
He looks like a disheveled man, and then he becomes this religious fanatic.
And the fucking 180 that he takes.
Like, I'm like, is this the same? Like, do I not like? Is this how it's meant to be? That I just misread him in the first one because we knew him as a stranger, like Timothy Chalamet did?
No, there
like,
was
know.
There was significantly more Javier Bardem's hair in this movie.
But I'm saying, like, was he a bit different of a character, or was it that we were outsiders like him, so we saw him from his perspective?
I think it's more of that. I think he was meant to be more mysterious and because the first Dune, the ending, you don't really get to hang out with the free folk. What are they called?
The free folk.
Well, that's
Fremen.
The Fremen, yes, free men. Fremen. I was close. You really
good job.
Thanks, man. You don't get a lot of them. It's in the ending, and then all you really get is him just like crouching down or like taking a big squat, and he's like, "Timothy, you fucking suck." And Timothy's like, "My sword on my forehead, I murder."
Yeah.
And then this entire movie is them with the Fremen and the blue eyes and shit.
The vibe of the first movie versus the second one.
Oh my god.
I feel it's really weird because the same guy directed both of them, and you can very clearly tell that they're set in the same universe, but something fundamentally was so different in this movie from the first one.
I don't know about that, because I was going to say this feels like one of the first movie sequels that I can say feels like one complete story.
It does feel like one story, but I'm saying as far as everything that was happening, so he talked about this, Mr. Aspect Ratio, where every time you're indoors, the aspect ratio is the wide stuff, and every time you're outdoors, it's the IMAX one, whichever one you get more land from, like where you could see more of the land.
Well, IMAX is all.
This was mostly in IMAX, he said. Yeah. So he had that going back and forth, and I think that actually did come across to me a little bit subliminally, even though I said I don't really see aspect ratio. You never see it,
which is crazy. Watch Transformers the last night if you want to learn about aspect ratio.
It felt close. Shit. Cough break.
I was thinking it. You took it right out of my head.
It's it felt very close, and a lot of it was dark because you were in the temples, you were with the Atreides, you were whatever. And in this, it just felt so bright.
Because they were outside all the fucking time.
But like because of that,
in the sand.
Even though they were in the same world, it felt like a different world.
Which I feel like was entirely the point. Because the first one is this grounded, talking about the stories and backstory and the families, and then this one's like they're like out on their own. They're with the desert people. They're like trying to survive, but also like he's the Messiah, so they're gonna do a big murder.
So that's the elephant in the room for me.
What's the elephant in the room?
People who have watched the 1980s one, I believe there's a 90s one, which is like a serialized TV thing, that actually got through a lot of the story. If I remember correct, I just watched a video on him trying to develop these.
Brendan is very obsessed with the Dune lore. Let me tell you.
It's good lore.
That's okay. I'm on a Kingdom Hearts kick, so to each their own.
So it seems there's like a shitload of books. Like we could do this till we're dead. So the first movie was supposed to be an adaptation of the first book,
Yeah.
which was then later on serialized into 3 other books.
Oh.
But now the first film was a bit of the first and second book, but like most of it, and then the second one was supposed to be a lot more of the third one. I think I may have been remembering this wrong, and then the next one is going to be like another book where it goes beyond that, or it is just 1 to 1 to 1 for the 3 that make up the one book.
I have no idea.
So that's what I'm a little fuzzy on, but there's so much lore and there's whatever, and a lot of people and all the other adaptations involve elements from all those other books, if not contain all of them.
Yeah.
Like
well, because a lot of those other books, a lot of those other movies, I can assume they're
Yeah.
looking at this huge, outlandish lore, and they're trying to condense a lot of it for modern audiences.
The 80s one, I'm not sure if it, because we didn't watch the 80s one. Of
course not.
I heard it was terrible. I'm not putting myself
Didn't want
through
to do that.
We tried doing that once or twice before. It just makes me resent it.
Yes.
So I think that they have the whole story, so you see a lot more of that. But in this, this movie has the benefit of living in the modern age where long 2.5, 3.5 hour movies are not the norm, but something that we praise. Yeah.
And it's, I mean, from Endgame to John Wick to fucking whatever else that we've covered that's super long, it can really just flesh things out. And it's funny because you have this long runtime where it can flesh out all this lore and everything with these long establishing shots and all these big shots of the desert and the sun and the multiple suns and whatever, and the cutaways, and it can linger on people's conversations, but no part of it feels rushed or too long.
It definitely does not feel rushed.
No.
It does feel too long in a sense of when you're watching it, you're like, this is still going. But I'm never at a point where I'm just like, but why is it still going?
It's not because I'm bored. It's more I'm just like, oh shit, this has been like movie. 2.5 hours. Yeah. I'm tired. I kind of want to go home, but this is really like, I want to know what the fuck happens.
This is the first time I've seen something in quite a while that I would consider to be an epic that actually felt epic.
Oh yeah. Because it's the type of moviegoer I am and watcher. You and I took a big break off of watching movies for a long time and going to the theater and whatever.
Yeah.
So the things that I would compare this to are things that people will definitely like snark at me for. But I would compare this experience to something that of Endgame, where Endgame you had like it was the audience and everybody freaking out. It's a superhero. In this, it's all of that energy, but it's very much more in like the appreciative side and people just being like, "This is fucking phenomenal storytelling." It feels like something of that gigantic caliber, but it's not like screamy nerds in a theater. It's like people being like, dude, this story, the way that he blocked it out and the way that these scenes are done, goddamn.
Well, so I'm going to compare it to something that may get me beaten
Is it
up.
Lord of the Rings?
No, it's Star Wars.
I could see that 100%. It's Star Wars, but different.
It's Star Wars, but different in a way where it does feel like that grand blockbuster. It's got a lot of those desert vibes and whatever, and I think the books I also read online, once again, could be wrong, that came out around the time of Star Wars or a little bit beforehand, so people think that some elements of this
there's a lot of, there's clear like crossbreeding,
but like Star Wars may have taken from this, not vice versa, in the books, but I could be horribly wrong.
No, I could see that 100%.
The one thing about this that is so different from anything like that, which is the one part I didn't get, which is what I was trying to touch on earlier, but I started rambling, is you see these other films, they show all of it so you kind of know what it is, but this one, the first film, sorry, has, you get this idea of this guy's supposed to be this kind of messiah character, it's whatever, but it felt more to me like this teenage movie, like prophecy kind of thing, like fucking Maze Runner or like Hunger Games kind of thing.
I didn't get that vibe at all.
Not from the movie itself, but from where I thought the story was going to go along those things. Where like, no, you're the chosen one. But I didn't realize this was a truly religious film.
Yeah.
It was, the entire book series is apparently a commentary on religion and prophecies and false prophets and things like that, and how power can like
how powerful a false somebody finessing a false prophecy is
to get there,
to just like convince people something.
And seeing that in this movie, not being aware at all, I just thought I was going to go into this and I was going to get more of the same as what I thought. And I think this is the first time I watched the movie where the message kind of like got me. Where I'm watching it happen, and I'm watching Timothée Chalamet
go from this like nice boy,
and I'm just like, is he just ignorant, or is he doing this on purpose? And after I left and I thought about it, and I watched some things online as well, it's all on purpose.
Yes, 100%.
He knows what
he knows, and it's his mom, her fucking input in the way that she's controlling people and the speak whatever.
It genuinely horrified me a little bit. Where I'm like, the religious fanaticism is like something where It's scary. It can get scary really quick.
100%.
And how willing people are to do things.
It's more scary to both of us, too, because we're not religious people really whatsoever. It's something that we don't even bother talking about.
No, I was raised religious when I was younger.
Oh, so was I.
And, like, it's not like...
And once I got to high school, I was like, It's
not like a hard, just like, fuck you and fuck all religion kind of thing, but, like, I don't care.
Yeah. I decided out of mind.
Yeah. So, like, seeing this and going through all this stuff and seeing these parallels of, like, Christianity and, like, Judaism and Muslim things, like him being the Messiah, him walking through the desert, that kind of stuff, like these trials.
It's very blatant and on the nose, but at the same time, the way that the story is being told, it's not pandering in any sense, and it's not forced. It's more just like, if you're looking for it, you see what's going on. And if you're not looking for it, by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh shit, they did that.
When he was standing on the steps and looking down at the Harkonnen, like boss guy, like the fat one who could fly, and he's stabbing him, and the way he held him, and the shot was angled and everything, I'm like, this is just
Jesus.
This is just biblical,
something.
like this is crazy,
100%.
And we're just watching this like it's completely foreign and whatever, but like you're getting to a point where it almost doesn't matter that they're on another planet or that these are different species of people. Like this just. It almost feels like, I want to say beyond relatable, but like, it just kind of seems like history at that point. It's like you're seeing a parallel of what happens.
It's the opposite of the Star Wars lore effect. Star Wars is in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, but it's futuristic looking tech. So it feels more like it's in the future. This is set in 10,700 something, but it feels like it could be much further back.
So it's not. So this is the one piece of lore I did hear online, which explains a lot. There are no computers or any actual technology in this beyond what's necessity. Like there's no automation or anything, because apparently they did have an animatronic uprising, and they won and went, fuck the computers, we're not doing that anymore. So that's
what I'm saying. So it takes place much further in the future, but the way the technology's set, it feels more in the past. So it's the antithesis to Star Wars in terms of film.
Yes, and it was. It's also like the ground is because like everyone is humanoid.
Yes.
There's no one walking around like fucking Greedo or whatever.
Well,
like just
you've got witches.
Yeah, but they're all human of the face or whatever. The only thing you get out of that is the Harkonnens, and even them, they just painted a couple guys white and their gums black. Like,
and they also got the weird black sun thing.
So that was the other thing that was really cool.
Oh my gosh, you're such a nerd.
Thanks, man. There was a couple times where I was watching that scene on their planet, and I'm like, okay, clearly this looks like it's in black and white, but it doesn't look quite black and white to me. There's something a little off about it. The reason why they look like that and their sun is whatever is because it's an ultraviolet sun. They filmed that not only in black and white, but in ultraviolet light, which is why it gets the accurate and crazy look.
Austin Butler's fucking terrifying.
No Heath Ledger, though. Internet fucking lied.
Not at all. Homie is underutilized. He's not in the film nearly enough. They don't do enough with him. There's this whole scene of setup and showing how crazy he is, and then he's like, the witch wants to go to him, and then they have sex, and the witch is like, I have the baby. It's going to be a girl just like you said, mother. And then he goes to the planet, and then he spends a lot of time going like this.
Did I miss that?
And he's just looking at hold on.
When did they bang?
I'm telling you the story.
He has a kid?
Well, remember there was a scene where she went in to talk to him and they were doing a thing and they were really close, and then
but then he stuck his hand in the box and then she held the needle to his face because it was the same test.
But then she walked to talk to the mother witch person, whatever, and then there was a clear like conversation, and then she talks about having a kid, and then she put her hand on her stomach, and then she said the gender of the baby.
Oh.
And then I almost said Austin Power, and then Austin Butler went to Dune. Yeah. Isn't that the name of the planet? No, just tell me what the name of the planet is.
The original name.
I need to finish telling the story.
That is their original name.
Okay.
What they call it is Arrakis.
Arrakis, thank you.
But Dune is the name.
They said Dune at some point during the movie, and I was like, gotcha.
No, in the first one he did that because he's like, it is my Dune. And you were like, I can't snap well. But then in this, he was just like, it's Dune. And all the followers were just like, he said it. He said the correct name. He must be the Messiah. And then my favorite
What's the name of that?
Dune?
No, that they keep calling him?
House Rat?
No, the religious name, the fucking
I don't know, Casa Dune.
Casa Dune, no, House Dune. Thank you. So Austin Butler goes to the planet, right, and they have this whole setup for him and all these things about how he's going to be very important. Yeah. Then instead he stands like this a lot. Like, licking his lips and shit, and then nothing really happens until the final fight, and then he fucking dies.
The crazy. Yeah, he wasn't bad.
Underutilized.
He wasn't bad under any
phenomenal.
Great, but
just like a lot of setup
like
for
we said
no
earlier,
payoff.
Not enough screen time for what he should have been. He should have been the main villain for it, which he kind of was.
Yeah,
but also didn't show up till like an hour and a half in.
I also wouldn't be surprised if in the third one they're like, well, no, we put him in the black bathtub and he came back to life.
He is in the '80s one. He's played by Sting.
Oh, that's who he is.
Yeah.
Wow. Sting really just didn't want to shave his head.
Yeah. Also, none of them look like they do. Like the Harkonnens are not white or anything in that one. Like they're just normal
they just
people.
Look like people.
Yeah,
that's fucking stupid. I'm really glad we didn't watch that movie because they're much more intimidating when they have the ultraviolet and they're like, everybody's fucking bald.
But there's one specific moment in the movie where we were talking about Javier Bardem. I want to say okay. Two things actually about him. Didn't think it was actually him when he took off the bandana and everything. Like he looked a little funny to me with the blue eyes. I'm like, is he CG right now? Did they get a different actor and put like a weird face on him?
I'm wondering like how they're doing the blue eyes.
Just CG, just overlay.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
It's really simple.
That's probably why. That's where like $100 million of that budget goes.
No,
just to the blue.
No, you just fucking track the shit on, put a little blue, or, just make it easier and put contacts in. Because they all looked a little bloodshot whenever they were blue, so it could have been contacts, but I'm pretty sure it was CG.
Lisan Al-Gaib.
Yes,
that's
Al-Gaib. Yes.
Lisan
Al-Gaib. Yeah, okay, words. So,
all your words.
He's looking at him at one point, and he's like, "You're the Messiah." And he's like, "I'm not the Messiah." And he's like, "That's exactly what the Messiah would say." And that is like scene for line for line from like The Life of Brian, a Monty Python movie, which I thought was fantastic. And I don't know if that was intentional, but I saw it as that, and I loved it.
Well, the thing that I loved is that every time he would do something, Stilgar would turn around and go to like the other extremists and be like,
"Okay, he's the guy, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It has been foretold, just like this." He'll be like, in the book it said he'd go to the tower, he'd look at the tower, and then walk down the stairs. Lisan Al-Gaib.
I just love this shit. They're just like, he must be him. What? He tied his shoes the right way.
And they didn't fall off.
Yeah.
He double nodded, and they all go,
they're like, how did you know how to do that? He's like, it just seemed like that's how you should do it. What the fuck? And they're like, yeah. Okay. Come on, man. Come on. And they're like, go survive in the desert, but watch out for Jinn. I'm like, you're on another planet.
Yeah.
And you're talking about genies.
Yes.
And you're using the regular word.
And worms.
You
don't even talk to me about regular word. Atreides. Stop. I was getting there. That was the punchline. I'm going to do it anyway, and you still need to laugh, okay?
Reggie.
Chani, Stilgar, Gurney, Fade, Beast, Princess Erlon.
Okay.
Paul.
Yeah.
Dune. Atreides. Harkonnen. Reverend Mother Mohaim. Lanville. Jamis. Paul. That's not stupid to you?
What about his girlfriend's name?
Chani. What about his mother? Jessica.
Johnny?
Chani.
That he calls her Chan a lot, and like Chani, and when he's screaming and he's fucking, Timothy Chalamet just yelling in the desert, it sounds like he's going, Johnny! And I'm like, why does he keep calling this motherfucker Johnny? John! And I'm like, Zendaya's name is John now.
Yes. Congratulations, John.
Their love story.
That's my favorite part about this movie.
No.
Is that, no. Jokingly.
Oh, okay.
Is that this first movie is epic, right? And you can see that the two of them meet and there's all this whatever tension. Yeah. And it's this epic about his dad dying and then their empire crumbling because of the emperor.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like survival and falling in love and all these things. And he's the Lisan Al-Gaib and all these people are dying and they have to travel somehow, get hundreds of people on top of the worm to travel. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, not at all.
I don't fucking
Every
understand.
time I saw that, I'm like, you saw how much he struggled to get on that thing.
Yes.
You're not only doing that, you're bringing tents
there's
with elderly people and like
how the fuck?
Children.
You have all this amazing epic. And in the end, you have this huge battle. And after all of the 6 hours of battling.
Yeah.
You end on a fucking love triangle.
No, but that's not what it was. And that's what I saw pointed out online, which, once again, ooh, wow.
What the fuck was that?
That was sausage. Nice sausage, egg, and cheese.
Okay, please keep going.
So, that was what I was talking about with he was lying the whole time.
Yeah.
He didn't love her. And he kept saying he would love her and did whatever, but the moment he saw
Power.
Florence Pugh,
yeah.
It wasn't that he left because he's like, man, this is something I have to do in order for this to work or to do whatever. It was, like you said, it's the power, it's wherever. And he went, I'm going to love you, not because he did, but because that's what he thought she wanted to hear.
Oh.
And then she went off heartbroken, and that's part of where we're gonna get the next story and everything. But
she's gonna murder him.
I don't know. But that their whole love story felt super rushed to me because it was just like this biblical thing where he's like, oh, I got these visions, I got whatever. And then they hang out like one night, have some weird conversation. He kills one guy in front of her. She's like, Daddy. And then like, it's just, it felt really rushed and weird, especially when they cut to like the tent and they're lying around and it seems, she's like, oh babe, you're having those nightmares again. I'm like,
they're all naked.
How long has this fucking relationship been? Like that
it's been like 3 days. Yeah. What's going on?
Well, like it was, I feel like it was actually months, and that was their way of showing it, but it did feel like 3 days. And I'm like, what the hell's going on in him? And it was so weird and feels more on purpose that not only did that relationship start so quick, it ended just as quick, if not quicker. So I feel like that was more intentional, but I have no idea what's going on.
So to me then this feels like, is he just like a gullible person where like none of this mattered to him, and then his mom started telling him and all these things, and he learned about this stuff, and then she's brainwashed. Is she brainwashing him, or inflicting these thoughts on him of him being this thing, and he just is like, all right, if you're gonna tell me I need to be this thing, I'm gonna be this thing? Or is he genuinely this Messiah that's showing up and is like, as it's instructed by my divine creation, I must fuck my way to the top until I am their leader?
He's not the Messiah. And that's the most important thing.
Yes.
Is that he is a false prophet.
They're finessing everybody.
They're fanatics about a false prophet, which is why she hates him and the whole thing, because she's aware of the false prophecies that his family has created. This Bene Gesserit, whatever.
Oh, the Bene Gesserit.
The Bene Gesserit, yes. I almost
Jessica.
said a hockey player's name. And it is that's just wild.
Yeah.
All of that. And it's just
all it takes is a couple fanatics
once again, bringing
to impact
it back
everybody.
to that, the most things that like I keep comparing it to is I want to say is like Christian like
Christianity.
No, Christian. I want to say mercenaries, but that's not the right word. Is it
Jehovah's Witnesses?
The people who
missionaries.
Yes, thank you.
Trying to dig around your brain. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Christian like missionaries going to like say like Africa or whatever and spreading the word of Jesus and doing whatever. But like the only difference is if Jesus hadn't come yet. Yeah. And they're like, he's going to show up, and then he shows up and they're like, that's the fucking guy.
I've been telling you about him for ages.
Yeah, and it's just like all of that is just blows my mind, because like it's not only that, and like I know like I'm like stretching this a little bit, but like I felt like it was also like very similar to politics and the way things work nowadays too, where like
lying.
You like get all these people and you get this one side versus the other side. They prop these people up like they're fucking some chosen person, and they're like, okay, now fight over it.
Now it looks like these people believe what's really going on, and they impact you, so then you start to believe, and the group just gets bigger, and then you fight each other.
I just realized that. Wow. Politics nowadays is almost like a religious war.
Yes.
I don't like that. But we don't talk about politics.
Here at anything, but we refuse to talk about politics.
But there's just so much going on in this film, and
a beautiful fucking film.
It is. And I want to say that the writer said this, and not the guy in the video I watched said this, but he's not the hero.
No, he's the villain.
He's not a broken hero. What's the term?
Anti-hero?
No, not anti-hero like Venom. Like,
what did you say? Venom?
Venom. Yeah. Venom. God damn it.
Sorry, broken hero. I don't know how to help you here.
He's like a lost hero. He's a fallen. He's Anakin, and he's turning into Darth Vader, and we're watching it happen as it's going on. He's got the hood up, and he's got whatever, and he's going to, for argument's sake, the dark side.
Yes,
and he's doing all this shit, and he's like, people are viewing some of these movies and everything like he's the hero and not really understanding what it is, and he's not the hero. Tragic hero. He's the tragic hero.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Words. I paid attention in English.
Did you?
No. There's CPB.
The bottom.
The bottom of the barrel. The real hero, based on what I saw and someone who read the books, is actually, spoiler warning, Anya Taylor-Joy. She's the true hero.
The sister.
The talking fetus, yes.
Because she's going to come back and murder him?
I don't know. I don't think he's the Messiah. I think she's supposed to be the Messiah, because all the things about him are going to be the same as her, but it's his sister. And she's going to be the one born on the planet, known of their ways, the one who's going to save them and actually save the planet. And he's the one who's going to create a nuclear fucking religious war. And he just keeps going, man, I'm seeing these visions all these people are gonna die. Well, what do you want to do about it?
I want to do exactly what it
let me
does.
just like,
let me just follow through.
Take over everything.
It says go to the south and everybody will die.
And
all
they
right, I'm gonna go to the south.
Pointed out that if he just went to the south, which he wanted to avoid, the home base wouldn't have blown up, that religious site, and those like nukes or whatever wouldn't have been found. So he actually would have been better off in
following the visions
and going straight there rather than waiting and finding nukes and doing whatever. And it's crazy to me that
the visions then are just like, feels like a shit put in his head to deter him from doing certain things, like the divine powers of the universe, or like the Bene Gesserit or fucking whatever.
Well, the problem was he didn't have true visions. He had weird visions that he didn't know or understand. No, but even before that, like he just had them because of his mother's like heritage, which she's not supposed to have a son.
Only daughters.
Yes. Which is probably why his sister's the chosen one.
Yes.
But he has all these visions. Then he takes the spice and goes, I see now, and sees all the past and everything. But I think more of it lines up with the Bene Gesserit,
blood,
where he sees the past more and kind of sees their ways and they're building things.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's more if he's looking to the future and knowing that it's going to turn out okay. He's looking to the past more and going, oh, this is what I was meant for.
Yes.
And leaning harder into that. There's just
my
so many
fear
layers.
now is in terms of the story. I wonder, do you know any of what's supposed to come next? Like, did you read into where the story's supposed to go, or are you deliberately like staying away from it?
I'm staying away from it, except for some minor things, like I said, where I heard that his sister Anya Taylor-Joy is supposed to be like more the chosen one.
I feel like I would, either way that this goes, I would love.
Yes.
Right. In terms of the third one's clearly going to be the finale because they build up what?
No.
It's hold on. So if this is the route they go, because this is how Hollywood is, everything works in trilogies. Part 4s are always the one that like sucks. Right. I could see this going one of two ways. She's born, there's an uprising, he's killed, and then everything just kind of like dies out in a nuclear holocaust. Or his rise to power is so great that something happens to his mom and the baby's never born, but then he dies anyway.
Okay.
I'd like one of those two to happen. Anya Taylor-Joy also showing up as the sister is the exact thing that we were able to guess and knew was going to happen and was still fucking stupid when it came up.
Okay. So here's what I believe this is going to be.
Okay.
There are 6 books. The first book was broken into 3 books.
Okay.
We got all 3 of those in these first 2 movies.
Okay.
That is just called Dune. The second one
is Messiah.
Is Dune Messiah, which is what we're going to get, where we think that Anya Taylor-Joy will be born. We'll get more of her. Yeah. It'll be whatever. In the original book, she actually is born, but they decided not to make her born yet.
Okay.
Hello, I am born.
I have been created.
So you get that. You get Anya Taylor-Joy thrown in, and then you have
Zendaya.
4 more books.
Oh my God.
4. And you saw how much content was in this.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure there was still some stuff cut out. There was actually something cut out where apparently he's supposed to have this whole dinner scene where he learns about politics and how to like work people and how important it is, which probably seems like it would have helped.
Would have made a lot more sense instead of him just being like, I know things and I'm going to game everything.
Yeah, I drink and I know things. I drink sand and I know things.
I take the spice and I know things.
So there's so much that could happen with this. So much this is going to go. And like, just really quick, just want to read you the names of these.
Oh God.
Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and then I think that might be the last one. It had more words after that, but it didn't seem like
but there was no more books.
No.
Okay. I'd totally be down to read these, and I don't even fucking read.
I don't like to read.
Oh, that seems really cool.
It seems like there's a lot going on. So my question isn't so this movie opened the gates, took like 5 steps, and then tumbled on purpose like Willy Wonka into a full fucking sprint.
Bad movie. Wait, what do you mean it tumbled? When did it tumble? There was no part of this movie to me that felt slow or shitty.
Slow, but it didn't feel shitty. That's why I'm saying it's on purpose.
It's the right kind of slow burn.
And it fell and came to almost, I don't even want to say a crawl, just so it can get up and fucking punch you in the face like McLovin and keep going.
40 minutes.
For 2.5 hours.
No. Like the first 2 hours, I'll say were like
not even the first hour, and then you get like
And then
there's just so much going. Yeah, it just
every time you think it's done, it's just like the Emperor, his wife.
War. This movie.
We found the nukes. We used the nukes.
This movie went from 0 to 100, and then 100 to 1,000, and I wasn't ready. The way the war happened, I was watching, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is whatever, and I'm like, okay. But
I thought the worms were the climax. I thought them getting on the worms and then riding from the one side. Even though he told them about the plan, I thought when they showed up, they were gonna like eat through everything.
Yeah,
and then. They did exactly what the plan was, where they attacked on all sides and they're just murdering people. And then Timothy Chalamet walks in. He's like, I like your big white bald head. Stab.
Yeah.
Stab. And then he goes to Christopher Walken. He's like, you're the fucking dungeon, you bitch. And then he brings him out of the dungeon. He goes, I'm going to fuck your daughter. Kiss my hand. And he goes, I can do that for you. And then Zendaya goes.
It kept going. And I remember these fight scenes, seeing them, and like the first one happened, and I'm like, this has got to be it. And then it went again, and then there was more, and there was more, and there was not a lot of detail to these fight scenes,
except for the last one.
And I thought it was a little weird, but then also in that video I watched, was mentioned that in the books, that's actually how he writes them. It's not like Lord of the Rings or whatever, where like you get all this detail in the fight. Yeah. It's just an overview.
A fight happened.
It's more of the characterization rather than the actual battles that seem to matter.
Are the books good?
You think I read them? I didn't.
You're the one that's watching all these lore videos. I didn't even think to do it. But you gained all this fucking knowledge from it.
I know what to watch.
The best battle, fight, action sequence, whatever.
Yeah.
It was 100% when he was fighting Austin Butler. Because Austin Butler was just allowed to just fucking do whatever. And there was just murders, and they were moving the knives.
It was
and
a
things.
great choreographed fight scene. It was an I don't want to put it on that level, but it felt grounded like a John Wick fight.
Exactly. Yes. It felt like, and they did exactly what John Wick does.
Yeah.
He's not an invincible character that can never get shot. It's just like hits and like your nose is bleeding, and then even though you're the protagonist, you're still getting stabbed, and there's a fucking knife in your side, and then he pulls out the knife in your side and he puts it in your chest, and then you're doing
But
this.
that's like it's not overly edited like a Jason Bourne movie.
No, there's not a ton of fucking jump cuts.
Every time he hits, you fucking feel it. Like and like I keep throwing an elbow, and I don't even know if he threw one, but that's how I'm like. That's how aggressive I'm remembering it.
Really nice.
Like just he's holding a knife, and he's like got the knife in his hand. He's like, nah, fuck you, elbow to the jaw. Like
I definitely got like. You could see where some of the overlap is in the choreography compared to Star Wars, because you have the two knives, and the knives will work like a regular knife, but then there'll be times where they're just like fucking clashing them together.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, okay.
It's just a fight.
Jedi. And then stab him in the chest.
I didn't notice until I watched this video is that he cheated.
Timothy?
Yeah.
Paul, sorry.
Paul. Atreides.
Such a good fucking name.
It's
Atreides.
A strong fucking
That's a good name.
So two things I didn't notice.
Okay.
I'll get back to the other thing, but when he's the Messiah and they're on the worms, the flags that they're holding are Atreides flags. I thought that was their flag.
No,
that's his flag.
Yeah, he committed. He put the ring back on.
Yeah,
he was in the. They were in the fucking religious thing, and instead of him being like, "I'm the Lisan Al-Gaib, follow me because I'm what," he was like, Atreides, and they were like, "All right, fine,
okay, yeah, Jesus, man."
I don't care what flag it is, as long as I don't die.
He cheated in the way
where
it really shows how much of a fallen hero
piece of shit he is.
Yes, fucking scum of the earth.
Paul.
Garbage Paul Atreides.
How did he cheat?
He pulled out a second knife, and I didn't even notice. That's how he stabbed him. It wasn't the same knife. He fucking...
Does that count as cheating?
He Maisie Williamed the guy. With he just kept his knife and stabbed him in there. So the other guy who you think is the villain or whatever actually fought correctly.
He did.
And the guy you're rooting for, who you shouldn't be rooting for, cheated and murdered this dude. To be fair, he did call his girlfriend a pet, but to be fair, he does actually treat the women like they are genuine
That's
pets.
exactly what he did to Zendaya. Yeah. He did treat her like Johnny as a pet.
Johnny.
And then of course you turn around and Javier Bardem goes,
yeah. What are you cheating? Shut up!
It has been written.
It has been written. Second knife. The holy second knife.
Like the holy hand grenade, but better.
Count to 3, not 4, not 2, but 3.
Two knives.
2 knives.
This movie,
it was so good. It was so
close.
Good.
I'm right. The only reason I don't want to right now is because we have so much shit to see over the next few weeks and so much shit to catch up on. But I'm so close to just being like, we need to go fucking see that again.
No, I'm down. Let's go. I thought of it the day after. I'm like,
of course.
I need to see this again and really go into it. And I almost want to watch both again.
100%.
Because
there's so much.
We talk about movies on here. Like there's these things where nothing really feels fully fleshed out again.
Yes.
Everything feels half-baked.
Most of the time we fucking complain about movies.
But
Except for Godzilla.
Every layer of this truly seems like it matters. It leads to something, and it's just like...
There's no point of this movie that's just thrown in because it has to be thrown in. Each thing is methodically thought out in the way that it needs to be portrayed and relayed to the audience.
It is genuinely a piece of art.
Yes.
It's
from top to bottom, start to finish.
Yeah.
Except for his name.
That's part of the art, man.
Paul.
Everyone else has these weird fucking names. They're like, this is the most important fucking character. You got to remember him. Well, I can't remember names like Atreides and Harkonnen and blah, 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 blah. Okay, Paul. I'll name him Paul.
And Jessica. Sure. Does anybody else have just a regular name? Maybe that's the thing that really
Johnny.
That's
Beast. What is his mom's name?
Jessica.
What was his dad's name? Her name is Jessica? So she's got a normal name.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe the people with the normal names are the wrong ones that are bad.
I'm going to say his dad's name was like Tim. Or like Tyler.
Every still image on IMDb of Dune and Dune Part 2 is Timothée Chalamet going like this. His name is Duke. Duke Leto Atreides.
No, his name is Leto. He is a Duke.
Okay, but that's not a regular name. Therefore, he is...
Leto?
He was a good guy. Every person with a regular name is a bad guy.
Yeah.
This is the tell. And the next one, who's the villain? Martin.
Freeman?
No, that's the character's name.
How
Martin.
do you know? You Googled it?
No, I'm completely just throwing the name out there.
What's Anya Taylor-Joy's name? Like, Google what his sister's name is. It was really weird, too, because, like, she looked really young in this movie.
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but this movie was also filmed like 3 or 4 years ago.
So, like, because she was only in one scene, so I wonder if they grabbed her, did this one thing, and then just did whatever, because she did seem very young. But I don't know if it was just the hood and everything, and they had her, like, makeuped up, or, like, really, like, smooth or whatever, because she's supposed to be, like, this, I was about to say hologram, this vision. So, like, and, like, also, she is supposed to be the Messiah. They probably made her, like, got rid of any imperfections or whatever. She just looked a little too smooth.
I'm fucking caffeinated.
Are you? Well, you're on your second monster of the hour.
Trying to find her fucking character's name. Bane. Aaliyah. She's a good person.
There you go.
Aaliyah?
Oh, Aaliyah. Need a picture of her from the 80s one. So glad we didn't watch it.
Maybe one day.
You could share.
Maybe when God. Maybe when the 4th one comes out, we'll decide to go back and watch it.
The originals?
Yeah. No, I said when the 4th one comes out.
Okay.
So that means you have like 7 years until you have to do
I don't want to.
What?
I said I really don't want to, but
no, neither do I.
It's been so long since I felt like a fan.
Passionate.
Or like really like went into anything about this. And I want to say the closest I got to with that was probably the new Hunger Games movie. But it wasn't that I had to learn a lot of lore. It was already there. It was just...
I could agree.
Like a new lore dump of a movie.
Yeah, the last time I felt passionate about like a franchise or something had to have been... From a hype standpoint, it was Rebel Moon because that was supposed to be this new gargantuan thing, and then it fucking sucked.
Fucking fell through.
When
did part 2 come out? Or did we see that already?
March, maybe?
I forgot.
Bad.
That's
why.
Forgettable.
I'd have to say it's probably Loki.
No.
Maybe?
Because it wasn't even... I got excited for it, but the moment I saw episode 1, I just...
Yeah, I haven't gotten really hype about something that we've watched for the podcast. Or rather from just a true fan standpoint, outside of like having to watch it to review things in a very long time.
Rebel Moon Part 2 comes out in April.
That's awesome.
It might be.
Are the predictions going to be correct? Where the director's cut of Part 1 will come out in March, and then we'll have to watch that one correctly to be like, oh, so this is what the fucking movie is.
No, Part 2 will come out, and then next fall, the director's cut of both of them together will come out.
6-hour Snyder cut. Yeah. And you know what's crazy?
We're gonna watch it.
At least you know. I'm very proud of you.
It's just.
It's great, and I'm glad that we watched it. We were close to not doing it.
I was going anyway.
Oh, you were going to go regardless, but I'm saying for the podcast.
Why?
Because months ago when we were talking about this, we were dreading, or rather Timmy and I were dreading the idea of having to watch a 2.5-hour movie and then a 3-hour movie about something we had nothing to do with for not a new IP, but like a new thing that we haven't already gotten into already.
I mean, just like you, like, I watch movies for a living pretty much. So like if I say something's good.
You just watch stuff for a living.
I started Supernatural for the first time 2 weeks ago on season 6.
I thought you were going to say 12.
Oh, there's only 15.
You're fucking slacking. I know. That's what I'm saying. We're still like only halfway through The Sopranos. It's been like 4 or 5 months.
I have to watch that.
Good show.
And then you have to watch The Boys, which I'm so excited for.
Yeah, I have
and
to
now
figure
you have
out
to
when
watch
I'm gonna...
Gen V too, because now it leads directly into the
because
new
one
season.
hands off to one to the
They're
other.
doing the Disney method, except it seems like it's working correctly.
What?
The Disney method, where all the shows are connected, and it's like supposed to be like one story in one universe.
Well, that's different. The Disney method is we're just gonna fucking throw everything at the wall and everything connects, kind of.
Yeah.
This is more like it's a continuous story from one show to the other. It's in the same universe.
That's like
That's to me is different, and I'm here for that. I think the problem now is just time, because we have The Boys coming up, but we also have like Ghostbusters that I've never seen any of.
Well, see, that's a lot
Kung
harder
Fu
for you
Panda I
because
just got
you
through.
somehow have never seen the Ghostbusters movies.
Well, but it's also Timmy and I got to watch it together, so there has to be enough time for the two of us to watch things.
Yeah.
Like Kung Fu Panda, I was able to get through because that was 3 movies, hour and a half a piece. Do it on my day off.
I'm gonna throw this out there right now. Ghostbusters 1, great. Ghostbusters 2, not as good as Ghostbusters 1, but as someone who watched it several times originally when I was a child, I still like it. A lot of people don't. The 2015 remake with Nothing But Women, don't watch it. Everyone despises it. It's not canon. It does not matter. Chris Hemsworth's worst role. The one with Paul Rudd that came out like 3 years ago.
There's really only 5.
Yeah.
I thought there were more.
No, the Paul Rudd one that came out like 3 years ago. Not
apparently pretty good.
great,
Otherwise we
but it
wouldn't have had
was
this new
pretty
one.
solid.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly solid with some CG dead people, but like actual dead people.
Oh my god, what?
One of the Ghostbusters is dead, but they put him in completely like remodeled in CG.
That's fucked up.
As
because he was the dad.
Yeah, he's their dad, but like Venkman. So they just completely redid him, and it's really good, but it's also
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. And you feel much worse because you know damn well he did not get that okay since he died like 7 years prior.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, but at least he died before the 2016 one. You know?
So he didn't get to see that.
But the benefit.
original
But we
cast
will
is
be.
in these.
Oh, I know. Well, they're in the trailers. In
Yeah.
the first one, in Afterlife, it was the Ghostbusters movie that nobody thought should be existing, and there was no hype around it because COVID and whatever.
Yeah,
and I know that the original cast was in that towards the end.
Well, I watched it because it was COVID.
Yeah.
So I went into it going, well, I got nothing else to watch, and I've been locked in here for several months.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad I did. It actually worked out well. There were one like cast surprising as the final demon from the original. I mean, the final ghost from the original is in this, except it's played by Olivia Wilde, who looks surprisingly like correct. It's really weird.
No, but what I'm saying is the original cast was in Afterlife in some way, shape, or form, even though I believe it was small. And in this one, they're not like, it's not like a nostalgia cash grab where they're like teasing it and then they're only going to show up. They're like, in the middle of the trailers, they're like blatantly, the original cast is here. They're part of the climax. They're part of the crew. This is an entire thing. You're coming to see all of them. We're not going to like tease you or anything.
Yeah.
And if this movie does well, isn't this a Sony movie? If this movie does well, I've been hearing from everybody that we're just going to get one of these every 2 years.
Great.
And it's just going to be...
Can't wait to murder another franchise.
Yay, burn it into the ground.
We're going to just all start hating Paul Rudd. They're going to do the impossible.
No.
I don't know.
Paul Rudd does not age. He does not make a bad movie. Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was good.
Yes.
There you go. You know why it was good?
It was Paul Rudd.
It was Paul Rudd. That's it. That's all we need.
It wasn't great, but it was good.
I think that's it.
Okay.
We didn't really have anything else planned.
No, I'm fine with leaving it there.
You got to rant about Dune for 45 minutes?
Yeah, and I wish I could rant more, but there's just so much.
There's so much.
I don't even remember all of it.
Yeah. I want to get to a point where there are so many of these movies so we can treat it like Star Wars and just be like, oh, you know what? Time to watch all the Dune movies.
You guys aren't real fans. We were there from the beginning when the movie came out in like 2016. Fuck the first 6 makes and like all the books. We're the real fans.
Dude, 2021?
Yes, we're like in like 6 movies from now where we're talking about it. We're just gonna be like, yeah, man.
I was there opening night for Dune 2 and IMAX.
And people are gonna be like, what
blah.
about the 90s thing and the 80s movies and the books? And we're like, fuck those.
I was there for Dune Part 2 opening night. That's what matters to me.
I was there. I fucked the popcorn bucket. I did what I had to.
I fucked the popcorn bucket.
I want one of those shirts.
What does the shirt say?
I showed it to you. The guy was holding it and he went, I'm just here to fuck the bucket.
Good morning, Timmy. Okay, so, Brendan, now that you've come out on the podcast.
Come out as what? A bucket fucker?
You covered your mouth.
I had
So tell me what
I did not fuck the bucket. I have to clarify, it's for the joke. I'm not a bucket fucker.
You just keep doubling down.
Yeah.
Stop. Can you tell the people what we did last week?
We definitely didn't fuck a bucket. We talked about Avatar, and you guys didn't like it.
Well, that's not true. The main did fine.
You guys were okay with it.
They were fine with it. Yes, last week we talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender and how much fun we had.
Another movie that no one saw but us, apparently.
The Outlaws? The Outdash Laws?
And the driving.
No, the Outdash Laws. That was the real important movie of last week.
Yeah.
And Drive Away Dolls, starring Pedro Pascal, that nobody saw. And then it bombed fucking horribly.
Yeah.
That was funny. What about next week? What are we doing?
I think it's Kung Fu Panda.
It's 100%
Not looking
Kung Fu
forward to
Panda.
that one.
Why?
Just don't care.
Because like what I said before, where the fourth one is always the bad one?
No, because I saw the first Kung Fu Panda and it was good, and I didn't need any more.
So the first one's good. The second one's fine. The third one is also fine, but a little bit better. This one, I'm sure, is just a cash grab. This is like...
I think they're making a fifth one, too.
We're going to talk about it next week, right?
Yeah.
But I don't understand why there is a fourth Kung Fu Panda movie.
There doesn't need to be.
There's so much outreach and yelling about more How to Train Your Dragon or Shrek or whatever, and they're like,
because Jack Black's really famous right now.
Yes, because he's
which is wild to me.
I don't understand how he's managed to come back
disappears
like
for like 5 years at a time and then comes back stronger than ever every time. I think it's the mass. He comes back bigger every time, and he comes back
you think it's the mass?
Even more powerful.
That's kind of like what Keanu Reeves does.
Yeah.
He disappears for like 15 years and he comes back and he's like, I love you all. And everyone's like,
yeah.
Dad.
I mean, if John Wick didn't come out, that was it for him.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, that's also because his fucking wife died and he was depressed. But, you know, that's...
Just like John Wick.
Okay, folks.
Really lent himself to that role. This has been the Anything Bowl.
Where anything goes.
Goodbye.